Chris with Random Weekend Adventures. I've talked about it last few videos, but finally, back from vacation, got everything printed up. I'm finally going to go through all of the miniatures from the August collection for Signum Workshop. Their information will be down in the description. I would highly recommend you check their Patreon out. Every single month is stacked with amazing miniatures just like this. And on top of that, you have the ability to use them in their game. So I want to go through each and every single one of these. I'll go ahead and flash a nice 360-degree video of each that I took as we go through them, as well as there's stats that you can use for the Legends of Signum Games. There's a few different games that each miniature can actually be used for, which is something that's really unique for what they have. So let's waste no time. Let's get right into it. Go through each and every single one of these guys. All right, before we get started, I just want to remind everybody that every single miniature that we're going to go through today is available completely printed on my Etsy store. I always have them available at a 28 millimeter, the stock 32 millimeter scale, as well as sometimes I'll offer 54 millimeter, and then sometimes even just max out depending on the print and if it's worth it. I can always do custom, so if you see one that you like and you want it 150 millimeters tall, I can probably make that happen. So you can always feel free to reach out to me on my Etsy page. I will get back to you like right away. But without further ado, let's go into these. So for those of you who aren't familiar, in the Legends of Signum game, you have basically, it's a hybrid game of miniatures, and strategy, and also the use of cards and a deck. So what I do for each month is I actually go ahead and I get the cards printed at like Office Depot, Office Max, so that I have them. And in the future, I want to go ahead and do a Let's Play every single month featuring the new miniatures. So I'm gonna go ahead and flash the cards up on the screen as I go through each one of these. So those people who do know what you're actually looking for in a miniature, you can see that there. And if there's ever in an order you need a card printed, just let me know and I'd be happy to do that as well if you're actually looking to play with the miniatures. So obviously in each card you're gonna have the attack, their movement, so that'll be small, medium, large, extra large, and those are specific rulers that do come with the game. And then you're also gonna have your health. So just give people an idea of what you're looking at there, and then it'll have their abilities and a little bit about them in their bio here as well. There's a lot on these cards that's covered, but I'm gonna have Let's Plays. We'll go through each one. I'll link the rule book in the description and everything that you need to know to get started in this game. It's a lot of fun. I'm really excited to get started and do these every single month for you guys. So, without further ado, we're going to start out with the Styx Undead Empire. So that's actually one of the, I want to say there's like 9 or 10 factions in the game now, and you build your deck and you build your army based within those factions. So, and there's a little bit more to that too. We'll cover it here in a second. So this month's hero, as they're called, so you have 2 different types of cards. You have the heroes and you have the characters. So this month's hero, who is your main miniature, your main character in the game that you have to keep alive. If your hero dies, you lose the game. So the one for this month is Gargoyle, I think is the way to pronounce his name, or Gargoyle. He is the Bloodthirsty Prince. So this miniature actually comes in 4 parts, both the arms, this large sword, his torso, and then I guess it's 5 his head as well. Typically I'll glue these together unless it's requested not to by whomever is purchasing it. But this is an awesome miniature. I liked it so much that I went ahead and printed a 54mm scale of this bad boy. And it's, I mean, you just see the difference there. So if you're ever wondering why the price difference is so substantial between this guy and this guy, well, there you go. That's that much more material. So this is also kind of a cool comparison as well, because almost every single print you're going to see here today was printed with the rich Opto gray resin. But this one was actually printed with their water washable white. So was that sword. And then I went ahead and primed it because unfortunately white, trying to show people miniatures in white does not work. So, but this is awesome. I'm really thrilled with how this turned out. And I mean, just to give you an idea for base size, you know, this is the base for the 54 scale and this is the base for the 32 scale. So it's crazy. So that's the first. But luckily we did also get this month 2 additional characters in the Styx Undead Empire. They're actually kind of classified, I guess, as the same character in a way, but there's basically 2 modes of it, and that's the Winged Horror. So this is the Winged Horror number 1, and this is the Winged Horror number 2. So with that, you'd only be able to place one of these cards in your deck. You just have to pick which miniature that you want. So there's a reason that I don't sell this particular one in a set of 2, because you can pick which one you want, or you can buy each individually. But yeah, these guys are pretty neat, and some pretty cool details. I mean, you see the swords in their sides coming through the other end, broken off. This guy's got an arrow and a sword through him. You can kind of see the arrowhead coming through there. But just crazy amount of detail that these guys put into their miniatures. It's awesome. So those are the 3 that you're going to get for the Styx Undead Empire. And I said before that you choose your teams based upon their faction. But there is also mercenaries. So just like, you know, in the real world, mercenaries can be on anybody's side, whoever hires them out. So the rule is that half or less of your deck can contain mercenaries. So if you had, say, a deck with 18 characters in it, right? Only 9 of those or less could be mercenaries. And this month, like most months, we got 2 mercenaries. The first one that we have is Ezekiel, the Night's Watch. Actually, I think we got 3 this month. Yeah, we got 3. He's just over here. So we have Ezekiel, the Night Watch. Pretty cool. Guy on horseback. He's got a bunch of heads hanging from his his saddle there. Again, just a crazy amount of detail in these miniatures. It's just the coolest thing. So we have him. We also have, I'm gonna say Ormager. I want to say Ermagerd, but it's not. It's Omegar. So he is the bannerman of the hunt. So the thing with the mercenaries, right? They're all kind of their own faction. They don't affiliate themselves with any other factions. But they are what's considered, if you're looking at them on their website, they're considered the dogs of war. So, but this guy is pretty neat. He would also go on just a standard small base, similar to this one. I just hadn't printed extra bases out, but again, detail is crazy. Removing the supports off this one is pretty interesting, but I've made it work. So there's that guy. And then the last of the mercenaries is one that you guys have probably seen on my other videos, because I used it as a test for exposures with screen protectors, is Umberto Suarez, the Priest of Music. This one is just ripe with detail. His sashes, you can see there's tons of writing. Each of the pipes on his little organ here have kind of intricate tribal designs. On his organ, he has 2 rats, which I think is a pretty cool touch. But overall, I mean, it's a pretty cool miniature. So those are going to be the mercenaries for this month. And then after the mercenaries, we go to the Scarguard, as they're called now, the Warriors of the North. I know for a few months there wasn't really a faction associated with these guys, but this is what the closest thing that I would consider to Vikings. So this month there's actually, it's kind of cool, but these are the Scarguard Shield Maiden. There's actually 5 variations of this that are kind of pre-set up that I sell. But if you would like it, you can have any arms, any weapons work, and any heads work with any of the bodies. So realistically, you could have any way that you like it. So this is the Burger King of the month right here. Have it your way. But this is just one of the 5. I did have some others printed out for a customer, but I had already shipped those out before filming this video. So those are really cool. And then another one that you guys have seen on another video is Bjorn the Bears Paw. This one, I think I printed like 8 or 9, maybe 10 of these. They've all turned out just absolutely fantastic. But again, this is another Skagara Warriors of the North. And something else that is really cool about being a part of their Patreon is that each month that you are a member, if you carry over into the next month, you're given a reward, a membership reward. So I don't have her yet because it's not September, in the middle of September, but we also are getting Root the Cold Heart. So that's going to be another Skagard Warrior of the North, which I think looks, really, really good. I mean, you look at the, 4 attack and medium movement, which is really good for a standard miniature, but 4 health as well. Like that's a really exciting character to be able to play as. So that's what we have for the Warriors of the North. An added bonus that you get, it seems like every month, is actually a scenery feature. So not something you're going to use in the game per se, but it's just something really fun, which is funny because this is probably my best seller this month, believe it or not, of all the miniatures. This guy right here, so it's just Sceneries of the North. This is a dinner table. I actually have this scaled down about 80% because that's what a customer had requested, and this is just a print that my first one kind of failed on the feet there, so I didn't want to send that to one of my customers. But absolutely crazy the amount of detail. That pig, looks like you could eat it. The fruit, the wine, the apple and the pig's mouth, all of it. It's just the level of detail these guys put in these things is absolutely incredible. What's also cool, and these, again, 2 different sizes because I scaled them differently, is you have 2 different Northern Warriors that are drunk and or passed out. This guy literally has beer spilling out of his mug, or it's probably mead, honestly. This is one that actually, his leg had failed, but battle wound is but a scratch. Is kind of cool. And then this guy here is falling asleep with his sword. So this is just an added bonus that you get being a part of the Patreon. Pretty much every month you're getting something like that may travel through the various factions, which is really, really, really cool. So moving on to the next one, we're going to go into I guess we call it 4th and final faction, which is going to be the Ophidian Alliance. I hope I'm saying that right. It's Ophidian. So they're like the lizard people, I guess, if you want to call it that. We got 4 miniatures associated with them this month. This one right here is actually Vashtar, the Enslaver. It's kind of cool because he has a little, I guess it's probably a troll there on a chain. And it's just a really, really awesome miniature. Again, the attention to detail is incredible. Now, this one was actually one of the first ones I printed to finish up my Anycubic gray resin. So you can see it does have a little bit more gloss, is a little darker than what I get with the Rich Opto. And to be completely honest with you, I prefer the Rich Opto, which is funny because it's much cheaper. So there's that guy. And then we actually have 3 of these guys here. Now, again, this is another situation where you're only going to get to use one of them in a game. You're only going to put one card in the deck for the, Ophidian I don't know. Somebody's going to have to help me out with this one. I assume it's Ophidian. Either way, they are crazy detailed. Again, this is another one where you could have any torso, even though they're mostly the same. Their shoulder armor is a little bit different throughout each one. The Archer actually doesn't have any, but you could have any combinations of weapons that you want. If you wanted a sword and a shield, I could make that happen. If you want an axe and a sword, make that happen. Heck, if you wanted a bow and no arrow, which I accidentally broke his arrow just before I started filming this. If you wanted him holding a bow and a sword for some reason, hey, we'll make it happen. More power to you. But that is these guys, and they are really, really, really cool. Now, when I sell my miniatures, every single one of them comes with a base. So some of these you'll have noticed don't have bases on them. I just hadn't printed them. But when you order a miniature from me, it automatically comes with a base. It's included in the price. You can choose whether or not you want them to be primed. I'll use a gray primer, exact same primer that I used on this big guy here. Or you can choose to have it not primed. If you have a preferred primer that you'd like to use or a color that you'd like to use, more power to you. I do like to use white primers periodically if I'm going to be doing a light miniature, especially like skin tones if there's a lot of skin or a lot of light tones. So again, I like to leave it flexible, but if there is anything anybody else wants, I'm more than happy to try to accommodate that as best that I can. All right, before I close this out, I want to clarify something that I was actually wrong about, because again, I'm still getting used to the rules, and until I actually read these cards, which I hadn't done prior to this point because I just got them printed like 2 days ago. What I mentioned earlier about a few of the miniatures in this set, in the rules, it specifically says that you can only have a single card of a name within a deck. So for example, if there was a Scarguard Shield Maiden, you couldn't have multiple Scarguard Shield Maidens. However, if the card says that you can, you absolutely can. So in this case, the only ones that say they can't are actually the Winged Horrors, but their names are different. So each one of these miniatures can actually be played with their respective other miniatures. So for the Skagara Shield Maiden, you can actually have 6 of them in your deck, which is crazy to think about. You could have the 2 Winged Horrors, and then the Ophidianators, I don't know, Ophidianators. Those guys, you can actually have up to 3. You can actually have all 3 of them out on the field. So you could have your Archer, your X Heavy Armed Guard, and then the Swordsman. So that's really, really cool. That actually makes this even more interesting for when I take these and actually go and play a few rounds with some friends and film that for you guys. So I'm going to leave you with a couple final shots of everything. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I'll try to answer it the best I can. Otherwise, I have some direct contacts at Signum who I can reach out to, and they'll get back to me, and I'll get that right back to you guys. So again, all the links are going to be down in the description below. My Etsy page, Signum Workshops, Patreon, Signum Games actual website where you can purchase everything you need to play the game. However, you do not need any of their stuff. You don't need the rulers, you don't need coins, you don't need their dice. They're fantastic in their rules, and they explain to you how you could use standard 6-sided die rulers for measuring and movements, and even just using your own map. Anything that's 24 by 24, you could do that. So you don't have to go in and really spend a whole lot of money to play this game. Really, you probably wouldn't even need the miniatures. You could just get a hold of the cards and print off pictures of the miniatures if you really wanted to. But the miniatures definitely make it special. So again, thank you guys so much for watching. Expect this every single month, except it will be earlier in the month, I promise. I'll I'll try to get it within 3 or 4 days of when I receive the miniature files. I'll get them all printed, get them all set up, and it'll be great. Special thanks in this video to Rich Opto for providing me with the gray resin that was used to print pretty much every single one of these except one, because I had to finish up what I had in the vat already. These guys are awesome. They have amazing resin. I mean, you can see the details that come out. Strength is, I mean, just as good as any other resin. So what could you ask for the price they're selling this stuff for? So I'll have links for them down in the description below as well. So thank you guys. Until next time, have a random weekend adventure.